Welcome to part 7 of the series on Black dolls. If you are new to this series, I encourage you to first watch the intro video tagged below for context. I'd also like to warn that if you're easily offended by discussions about our unfortunate history in regards to slavery, and if you love Raggedy Ann but you don't want to hear about her part in all of this, now would be a good time to scroll on. In her book, Racial Innocence, Performing American Childhood from Slavery to Civil Rights by Robin Bernstein, she describes racial innocence as a form of deflection, a not knowing or obliviousness that can be made politically useful. Bernstein writes that homemade soft dolls have existed since antiquity, but the commercial mass production of soft dolls is an American innovation, with racial agendas and effects of the turn of the 20th century. Most pre-20th century store-bought toys were rigid and hard to the touch. Bis dolls, or toy animals of sawdust stuffed leather, did not invite cuddling. Dolls of the 18th and early 19th centuries bore duties that were more utilitarian than emotional. Parents valued and sanctioned dolls mainly as luxury objects that announced class status, or as means by which girls learned and practiced sewing and other skills. Around the mid-19th century, emphasis shifted towards the doll's ability to train girls in emotional roles. By the 1880s, a doll's emphasis on sewing had become obsolete, and by the 20th century, dolls had become full-fledged aids to and structurers of imagination. As cuddling with dolls came to be regarded as a worthwhile imaginative act, commercial manufacturers began to sell soft toys. A few white American women commercially manufactured cloth dolls in their homes on a small scale as early as the 1840s. But it was not until the 1880s and 1890s that numerous white women and some white men set up cottage industries to manufacture soft dolls. These companies stitched racial narratives into their products. Each manufacturer typically sold dolls in several varieties, at least one of which almost always represented an African American. The standard inclusion of black dolls suggests that manufacturers considered black dolls to be necessary and expected components of a doll maker's line. The creator of Connecticut's own Raggedy Ann, Johnny Gruelle, located Raggedy Ann within this soft doll land that persistently ran cognate to an imagined lost cause south full of enduring mammies and other faithful slaves. Gruelle did not rely only on geographically imagined context to produce Raggedy Ann's racial meanings. He also loaded his character with visual elements deriving from 3 blackface minstrel-infused sources. First, the influence included the Golly doll, which was a character devised by the painter Florence Kate Upton, an American-born daughter of British nationals. Upton based the Golly on a blackface minstrel doll she remembered from her childhood in the United States. The character's pop eyes, jet black skin and hair, and bright red mouth announced his minstrel ancestry, while his red, white, and blue outfit quoted the American flag. Gruelle's Raggedy Ann adopted the Golly's triangular nose, woolly hair, geometrical face, American flag-like costume, as well as the structure of the book-toy combination that ultimately sold neither books nor playthings but golliness. Secondly, Gruelle drew inspiration from the works of L. Frank Baum, of whom Gruelle was a tremendous, even obsessive fan. Gruelle was said to be particularly attracted to Baum's character of the Scarecrow, who debuted in Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz in 1900. Gruelle's first Raggedy book included playful references to Oz and to the Scarecrow in particular. For example, Raggedy Ann's introduction to the other sentient dolls in Marcella's nursery begins when the soldier Dolly turned his head and solemnly winked at Raggedy Ann, a parallel to Dorothy's introduction to the Scarecrow in The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, who reveals his sentience by slowly winking at the girl from Kansas. A more explicit Oz reference appears in Gruelle's first Raggedy book when one doll comments that Raggedy Ann looks like a scarecrow. Baum's Scarecrow possessed minstrel roots as deep as the Gollies. Baum's Scarecrow character was reinvented in a blackface-infused musical Oz Extravaganza, which opened in Chicago in 1902, moved to Broadway in 1903, and played to packed houses in both cities. The blackface actor Fred A. Stone originated the stage role of the Scarecrow in this extravaganza. Stone had long teamed with David Montgomery, who played the Tin Woodman, in acrobatic and blackface performances. Stone brought to his performance of the Scarecrow a genius for physical humor and in particular a comedic floppiness that he had honed with Montgomery on the minstrel stage. When Gruelle created Raggedy Ann in 1915, he quoted Oz's logics and visual tropes. Gruel imprinted the face of Neil's scarecrow, especially its flat surface, triangular nose, perfectly round eyes, and semicircular smile, on Raggedy Ann's face, and he imbued his cotton creation with the physical floppiness of Stone's body in performance. With this, Gruel adopted the scarecrow's tossability as a central quality of Raggedy Ann and designed Raggedy characters in reference to Oz as extensions rather than contradictions of Baum's imaginary and racial visions. Finally, Gruel adopted the mischievousness of the character Topsy from the 1852 novel Uncle Tom's Cabin, written by Connecticut's own Harriet Beecher Stowe. Each of Raggedy Ann's blackface ancestors, the Golly, the Scarecrow, and Topsy, left traces on her body: a flat, geometric face, woolly hair, physical softness and floppiness, playfulness, cleverness, acrobatic skill, tossability, cheerfulness, imperviousness to pain, tendency toward benign mischief, natural ability to entertain, and cuddliness. Raggedy Ann's ancestors marked her not with a mixture of blackness and whiteness, but rather with the black and whiteness of the blacked-up minstrel performer or the topsy-turvy doll bodies that do not merely mingle blackness and whiteness, but that instead keep blackness and whiteness simultaneously in tense distinction and in intimate contact. Raggedy Ann does not represent a black, white, or racially amalgamated body. Raggediness is a sign not of African Americans or African Americanness, but of black and whiteness. Raggediness signifies not slaves but the system of slavery, not black or white people but rather white people's love and theft of blackness. Raggedy Ann is a white-up minstrel performer, a complicated, racially obsessive thing of enormous cultural utility, a hulking, steaming, meaning machine ready to be set to labor.